Good day, everyone. So we will continue our discussion on the introduction of phase equilibrium. But before we begin, let's just review what we have discussed so far. So last time we discussed the nature of equilibrium and also the phase rule and Duhamel's theorem. And also we basically uh, discussed the PTXY diagram, which is a 3D diagram, and also the projected two-dimensional PXY and TXY diagram. So we identified where, for each diagram, where is the bubble line, the dew line, the tie lines, and also we did that for both PXY and TXY diagram. And we also identified important regions, lines, and points on both PXY and TXY diagrams. Today, we will move on to discuss the critical points of binary mixtures and retrograde condensation. Retrograde condensation is a phenomenon that we will discuss in detail later. But first, let's focus our attention on this PT diagram, pressure temperature diagram. And so on this PT diagram, we have uh, this line right here, the topmost one. This represents a pure species 1. And the line at the bottom represents the pure species 2. And if we isolate each of the line, we get the PT diagram of species 1 and another diagram for species 2. C1 would represent the critical point of pure species 1. It's the highest temperature and pressure at which vapor and liquid phase can coexist for a pure species 1. And the same way we can describe the critical point of pure species 2. However, also by the way, each of the loop here, okay, represents represents the composition of the vapor. So that's the dashed line, and the liquid. Okay. Composition of the liquid line. So let me just go back if it's correct. Yep, the solid line is the saturated liquid, and the dashed line represents the saturated vapor line. So each of the loop right there would um, represent the composition of saturated liquid and saturated vapor. And the nose of the loop would would actually follow this critical locus. Okay, so it's tangent to this critical locus. Okay, so as I've mentioned before in the last lecture, the curve formed the curve joining C1 critical point 1 and critical point 2 of the pure species would contain the points at which each of the mixture would have their own critical uh, points. Okay, so for example, here this mixture right here, its critical point would be here, and so on and so forth. And if we get the tangent line that across all of these uh, points, it would represent the critical locus. So for a pure species, the critical point would give you the highest temperature and highest pressure at which the vapor and liquid phase can coexist. But for a mixture, it's neither on the highest pressure, or I mean at the highest pressure or at the highest temperature. So it's not the same when you have a pure species and if you have a mixture. Okay, what do I mean by that? And now we will move to discuss the special phenomenon called the retrograde condensation. Okay, so this is another PT diagram. So if I zoom in, it's quite blurry. So I'm going to use the one from the book. So this is the same figure. This is a PT diagram. So in this PT diagram, okay, we have this curve wherein here is the critical point of this curve right here. Okay, so it represents a mixture on the left of the critical point. Okay, so on the left, the critical point, we have the saturated liquid line, and on the right of the critical point, we have the saturated vapor line. The maximum pressure for this mixture is at MP, which is represented by, if we read the pressure at MP, that would be the maximum pressure, and the maximum temperature is at MT. So if we read from the bottom, the x-axis, the temperature, this would give us the maximum temperature. And notice that the critical point is neither at the maximum pressure and not at the maximum temperature. Okay, so we're dealing with a mixture here. Now, these dashed uh, curves right here represents the fractions. Okay, so the interior dash curves indicate the fraction of the overall system that is liquid in a two-phase mixture of liquid and vapor. So in this specific diagram, it represents the fraction that is liquid in a mixture of liquid and vapor. So point 2 means the liquid part is this first curve right here at point 2. That means the fraction of the liquid is point 2, and here means the fraction of the liquid is point 1. All right. So what if we have a situation wherein we um, reduce the pressure? Okay, reduce the pressure along line PD. So line PD is on the left of the critical point, as you can see. Um, if we reduce the pressure, what happens? So we expect that vaporization occurs, right? So as we reduce the pressure, vaporization occurs. Uh, this is accompanied by vaporization of liquid from bubble point to dew point, as would be expected. So that is our expectation from the saturated liquid to D. It vaporizes to a saturated vapor. And as we can see, as we move down, it passes the curves that at first it has a zero point 0.2 liquid fraction of zero point 0.2, and as we reduce the pressure, the portion of the liquid reduces, the portion of the vapor increases. So from zero point 0.2 to zero point 0.1. Okay, so at this region right here. So that's what we expect. Okay. Um, as we reduce the pressure. Okay. But what if we have a uh, condition that corresponds to point F? Okay, so where is point F? So point F is on the right of the critical point. So it's right here, right of critical point. Uh, what happens when we reduce the pressure? So if we reduce the pressure, we go like before, we go from top to bottom, right? From B to D. So if we're point F, so from F, G to H, what do you notice? Let me zoom in further. So it passes first the the curve at which the curve at which the fraction is zero point 0.1. Okay? And then it passes next the curve wherein the fraction is zero point 0.2. So instead of vaporizing, what happens from zero point 1, zero point 2? It's condensing. So condensation happens. It's opposite of what happens in on line BD. So here there is a condensation uh phenomenon first. So after that, that is where after point G, that is where the um vaporization starts. So condensation first from point F to G, and then vaporization from G to H. In contrast with BD, where vaporization happens as we reduce the pressure. So if we start at point F, there is a certain uh, area or region wherein condensation happens as we reduce the pressure. Okay, and that is what we call retrograde condensation. Okay, so it is because at this region we pass first the curves that are the curves that have lower liquid content, and then we pass um, the curves that have higher liquid content. Um, and what is the significance of that? Okay, so what is the application of retrograde condition? Where do we observe it? It's usually important in deep natural gas wells operations, because in these wells, the pressure and temperature in the underground formation may be similar to the conditions at point F. Okay, so at point F, which is on the right of your critical pressure, critical point, I mean. And if the pressure at the wellhead is at point G, okay, at point G, then the product steam from the well is an equilibrium mixture of liquid and vapor. So because the less volatile species are concentrated in the liquid phase, significant separation is accomplished. Okay, so um, now if the operation continues, if the operation continues, then the pressure tends to drop because the gas supply is continuously depleted. Okay. So if it's not prevented, it would lead to the formation of a liquid phase and a consequent reduction in the production of the well. So if the pressure continuously decreases, then um, there's a formation of the liquid phase right there, and it would reduce the production of the well. So what do they do to prevent this? They repressure the well by injecting a lean gas. What is a lean gas? A gas that is gas from which the less volatile species has been removed. Okay, so they return it to the ground reservoir to maintain the high pressure. All right. So it's a very interesting phenomena because um, as you can see here, what we usually expect is the vaporization as we reduce the pressure, but in this region, uh, it will pass through the regions of lower liquid content first. So there's condensation first before vaporization, and that happens uh, in this region. Okay. So retrograde condensation occurs when the gas in a tube is compressed beyond the point of condensation, with the effect that the liquid evaporates again. So this is the opposite of condensation. That's why it's so called retrograde condensation. Okay, so I hope that's clear. Okay, let's proceed. So now we will discuss low pressure VLE. Okay, so before in our diagrams, we show the critical points. So although the VLE in the critical region is of considerable importance in the petroleum and natural gas industries, um, as we have discussed before, where we discussed the retrograde condensation. However, most chemical processing is actually accomplished at much lower pressures far away from the critical region. Okay? So therefore, common types of PXY and TXY behavior are well or far away from the critical region, just like these PXY and TXY diagrams. So these are usually in away from the critical region or critical point. All right. So when the liquid phase behaves as an ideal solution and the vapor phase behaves as an ideal gas, then the system is said to have followed uh, Rayold's law. Okay, it's the simplest model of BLE. Okay, so if it's an ideal solution, an ideal gas, then it follows Rayold's law and it's the simplest BLE. For example, before that, uh, if it's obeying the Rayold's law, then the px curve or the bubble point curve is a straight line. It's actually a straight line connecting the vapor pressures of the pure species. So let me give you an example right here. So the px line is a straight line connecting the vapor pressures of the pure species. So this is an example of a system that follows Rayold's law. So um, here we have different systems, okay? Different systems, uh, the PXY and TXY of those different systems. We have tetrahydrofuran, carbon tetrachloride at 30 degrees, so that's system A, and so on, and so on, and so forth. So what do we notice? Okay, so they have different behaviors. Okay, they have different um, appearance for the PXY and TXY diagram. Okay. So for example, we have figure A right here. What can you observe? The PX line or curve is below the straight line. So the straight line would represent the system obeying Rayold's law. Okay. But um, in the system, it deviates from the real slow behavior. Okay, so there's also a situation wherein the negative departures from the linearity becomes sufficiently large, okay, relative to the difference between the two pure species vapor pressure. And if that happens, okay, the deviation is sufficiently large, the PX1 exhibits a minimum. Okay, so it becomes a like a parabola right here. So and not really a strictly speaking a parabola, but it exhibits a minimum by dipping the curve dips. Okay, so and when that happens, okay, so when that happens, so here in figure B, okay, so where um the PX curve experiences a dip, and when the PY curve also has the same as a minimum at the same point, and at this point x1 is equal to y1. It means that the dew point, okay, so x1 equal to y1, the dew point and bubble point curves. Okay, so dew point and bubble point curves are tangent to the same horizontal line. Okay. So this is what we call an azeotrope. Azeotrope. And if we boil a liquid, okay, so if we boil liquid of this composition, it produces so if we boil liquid from this point to this point, so from the region above to the region below, because our liquid is a PX diagram, so liquid is on the top. Um, if we boil a liquid at this composition, it produces a vapor of exactly the same composition. And therefore, the liquid uh, does not change in composition as it evaporates, and no separation of such constant boiling solution is possible by distillation. Okay, so this is what we call the azeotrope. So We have another example wherein the the px curve lies above the linear, okay, the line which obeys the Raoult's law. Okay, so this is the example. So system C is furan carbon tetrachloride. So the px lies above the Raoult's law line, and then we have another situation wherein the deviation, okay, from linearity causes a maximum. So here it's a minimum. So here the px1 deviates, okay, positively from the straight line, causing a maximum. And also we have the py1 also departing positively from the linear behavior. So what happens here is we have an azeotrope as well, and it has the same the behavior as in the minimum pressure azeotrope. Here the vapor liquid phases are that are in equilibrium have the same or have identical composition. Okay? Okay, so why do we have negative and positive departures from the straight line? Okay, so when we have negative departures such as situation systems A and B, it reflects that the liquid phase intermolecular attractions that are stronger between unlike molecules than between like molecules. Okay, so on the other hand, if we have a positive deviation, it means that the liquid phase intermolecular interaction um, between like molecules are stronger than between unlike molecules. Okay? Now, okay, let me zoom out. Because distillation processes are carried out um, more nearly at constant pressure than at constant temperature. So in distillation, we will commonly see TXY diagrams at constant pressure rather than TXY diagrams. Okay, so now we move on to tracing the evaporation of a binary mixture at constant temperature. Let's consider a constant temperature expansion process. So what's that? Constant temperature expansion process from liquid to vapor of a binary mixture of ace acetonitrile, acetonitrile, that's species 1, and nitromethane, species 2, with overall composition of 60 mole percent. So X1 is 0.6. Acetonitrile, the temperature is 75 degrees Celsius. Okay, from subcooled liquid to superheated vapor. So from point A to point B. Okay, let's trace the evaporation of the mixture. So as we reduce the pressure uh, from A to B, okay, so it started as a subcooled liquid and then to point B, where the saturated liquid is on the verge of vaporizing. So if we further decrease the pressure, okay, so as we move down, we decrease the pressure, um, the it produces a bubble of vapor. So bubble of vapor represented by point B prime. Okay? The 2 points B and B prime together represent the equilibrium state. Okay? Point B is the bubble point, and the px1, so this is the curve line, is the locus. So this is the locus of the bubble points. As we reduce the pressure further, the amount of vapor increases. Okay, so as we go down, the amount of vapor increases and the amount of liquid decreases. Okay. So as you can see, the nearer we are on a line, that means the higher the amount of the substance or the phase of that line. Sorry, rather, I meant phase. Okay, so if we're here, it means the liquid phase is higher, but as we near the vapor line or the dew point uh, curve, that means the vapor uh, phase is higher. Right. So, so the amount of vapor increases and the amount of liquid decreases with the states of the two phases following the paths of B prime C and B C prime. Right. So it just means that if as we move down, okay, and we enter the region inside the curve, um, the liquid phase is represented by the points on B, C prime, while the vapor phase is represented by the points on the B prime C. Okay. Next, the dotted line from point B to point C represents the overall state of the two-phase system. And as we approach, finally, as we approach point C, the liquid phase represented by C prime has almost disappeared. Okay, so as we approach C, the liquid has almost disappeared. That's why uh, it's called the dew line, because only droplets or dew are remaining. Okay, so therefore point C is called a dew point, and PY, okay, so this curve PY is called the locus of dew points. So once the dew has evaporated, only saturated vapor uh, at point C remains, and and further reducing the pressure would lead us to superheated vapor at point D. Okay, so that's how we trace the evaporation of a binary mixture at constant temperature. We also have a supplementary video that also explains this a bit more clearer. Okay, so for now, we're following the explanation of our reference material, Smith and Vanes, but our supplementary videos are also very helpful in understanding, okay, the PXY and TXY diagram. So let's trace the evaporation of a binary mixture at constant pressure. So before, the previous slide dealt with the PXY diagram. Now we will deal with TXY, so temperature XY diagram. Okay, so um, we have the same system, binary mixture of acetonitrile and nitromethane, okay, with composition 0.6% acetonitrile. But this time we'll use the TX, temperature XY diagram. So on the temperature X composition diagram, we start the evaporation from the bottom, because here it's the region of the subcooled liquid, while the upper region is the superheated vapor. So as we increase the temperature, so we go from bottom to up, from A to B. First, from A to B, it's the first. It is where the first bubble of vapor appears. That's why the TXY. Okay, at point B, it's called the bubble point, and the TX1 curve is called the locus of bubble points. Next, as we increase the temperature further, the amount of vapor increases and the amount of liquid decreases. Okay, so when we're inside the curve, the two curves, this is where the points, okay, the dotted points would represent the state of the two-phase system, but um, the amount of liquid and vapor would be represented by the curve CB prime and BC prime. So this CB prime and BC prime. Okay, so finally, as we approach point C, the liquid phase has almost disappeared with only droplets remaining. That's why point C is called the dew point and PXY is called the locus of dew points. And once the last droplet has evaporated and only saturated vapor remains, um, from point C to D now, from on point C, on point D, we only have superheated vapor. Okay? So that is how we trace the evaporation on a TX temperature XY diagram. Okay. So at this point, we will stop the video, and we will just continue our next lesson in the next video.